Welcome back to Let's Talk Sports. I'm CJ Tully, and I'll continue to break down every division in the MLB leading up to opening day. Today, let's talk about the NL West. Let's start off here with these Arizona Diamondbacks, and they found themselves in the World Series a few years ago. In my opinion, a little bit too early for the talent that they had. Last year, they lose some veteran leadership in Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. How did they replace that this season? Starting off at the hot corner, they bring in Nolan Arenado from the Arizona Cardinals in a trade. Last year, he had played in 112 games with 12 home runs, 52 RBIs, a 237 average, and a 666 OPS. Obviously not the greatest numbers in Arenado's career, but maybe he can come over here to Arizona, hit a little bit lower in the lineup, and maybe find his spark yet again. They'll play opposite him with Carlos Santana at first base. He's still finding himself on an MLB lineup and in a starting position. Even at his age, he continues to find a way to get on base. They also add some help with starting pitching as they re-signed Zach Gallen. Last year, he went 13-15 with a 4.83 ERA, and he had 175 strikeouts. They also bring back Merrill Kelly for a 2-year contract, so look to see him help in this rotation as well. They didn't have any huge losses this offseason, which will also help them this year as they traded a bulk of their talent in the trade deadline last year. Now, how will this lineup shape up? Well, it's still going to look pretty solid at the top of this lineup. Geraldo Perdomo will lead off for you at shortstop, and he went under the radar last year, in my opinion, with this Arizona Diamondbacks team. He had 33 doubles, 20 home runs, 100 RBIs, a 290 average, and an 851 OPS. Those are great numbers at the leadoff spot if Perdomo is able to keep those up. He'll be followed by, in my opinion, the best second baseman in baseball right now is Ketel Marte. He had 28 home runs, 83 strikeouts last year, but that is 20 less than we saw in 2024, so some great improvement there by him. He had a 283 average and an 893 OPS. Ketel Marte will continue to be a perennial all-star for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Now, following at number 3, you have Corbin Carroll, and he had a bit of a fall-off there. 2024, we didn't see the same production, but now 2025, we saw him really step it up. 2024, he had 22 doubles. Last year, we saw 32 doubles. In 2024, 14 triples. We saw 17 triples just a season ago. 22 home runs compared to last year with 31. 74 RBIs to 84 RBIs. The average even improved by 20 points, and we saw the OPS go up by over 100 points to 883 OPS. So Corbin Carroll had a big year last year. Let's look to see him improve upon that as well. We didn't like what we saw in 2024 with Corbin Carroll, but maybe he's starting to find his way in this lineup. He'll be hitting number 3. Now, number 4 here again, Gabriel Moreno at quick catcher. Nolan Arenado will be following him at third base. Like I said, a little bit lower in the lineup. Maybe not forced to do so much to where he can now find his way in this Diamondbacks lineup. Number 6, Carlos Santana. Number 7, Pavin Smith at DH. 8, Jordan Lawler at center field. And Alek Thomas finishing things off in left field at number 9 for this team. This rotation, I mentioned a few of the pieces that they had this past offseason. Zach Gallen would lead things off, then Ryan Nelson, Brandon Pfaadt, who had himself a very good year last year, Eduardo Rodriguez, and then Michael Soroka will be finishing it off as well as they sign him to a contract this past offseason. So this is a Diamondbacks team that can definitely make some noise if the top of the lineup continues to produce. I think a lot of this is going to fall on Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, and Geraldo Perdomo, but if we can see a decent amount of production out of Nolan Arenado and Carlos Santana, the veterans that could kind of step up here and help this young team, I think we could see the Diamondbacks make a real run. Next up, we're going to have the Los Angeles Dodgers, the back-to-back World Series champions, and they just didn't stop there. They went out this offseason and added some more talent. It started off with the biggest addition here, I believe, of any team in the offseason, in Kyle Tucker. Last year, he had 25 doubles, 22 home runs, 73 RBIs, 25 stolen bases. He did have a decline in average and OPS, but we know that talent is there with Kyle Tucker. Just not the greatest year with the Cubs, but certainly nothing that would really set you back with adding Kyle Tucker. He did sign a 4-year contract here. He was offered a longer contract. It seems like he is going with the shorter option here, as a lot of players are to take the time here with the Dodgers. Edwin Diaz is also signed here by the Dodgers on a 3-year contract. They re-signed Miguel Rojas at shortstop. They re-signed Kike Hernandez, who just seemingly belongs on the Dodgers year in and year out. And Evan Phillips re-signs on a 1-year contract as well, the relief pitcher. Some subtractions here, nothing too crazy again. Kirby Yates goes over to the Angels, Anthony Banda, and they lose Michael Conforto, who goes over to the Cubs. Now this lineup, we all know it's one of the best in baseball, especially at the top, but I think there's just so much depth now to this Dodgers lineup that it's going to be insane to watch yet again. Shohei Ohtani is obviously going to lead things off here for you at DH. Last year, 25 doubles, 55 RBIs, 102 RBIs, 20 stolen bases, which is less than we saw in 2024. But of course, he wasn't pitching, so we saw him a little bit more freaky on the base paths. A 282 average and a 1.014 OPS. Shohei Ohtani was your MVP last year, and it seems like until somebody can really find him out, it's going to be that way for years to come. Now, I will point out that he didn't have the greatest postseason, especially when it came to the later ends of that. We know he didn't have a great series against the Phillies, and the World Series wasn't really for him either. So maybe they were starting to figure things out with him, or maybe he was just burnt out from the season that he had. But we did see a little bit of regression in the playoffs by Shohei Ohtani. Number 2, you're going to fill in there with Kyle Tucker. Mookie Betts will be in at number 3, and we have not seen the same Mookie Betts since 2023. Last year, he had 23 doubles, 20 home runs, 82 RBIs, a 258 average, and a 723 OPS. Those are clearly not bad numbers, but again, in 2023, we were seeing MVP-like numbers by Mookie Betts, and it just hasn't been the same since then. At number 4, you have Freddie Freeman. Number 5, Will Smith, which a lot of people sleep on him as well at the catcher position. He did deal with some injuries last year, and we didn't see all too much of him in the postseason. Max Muncy will be hitting at number 6 at third base. Teoscar Hernandez, Anthony Pages, and Miguel Rojas will be playing second base and hitting number 9. This rotation is going to be really fun to watch this year. We're seeing some of that younger talent, that newer talent coming over from Japan will start taking their next steps here in this rotation. Yamamoto will be leading off things here as your day one starter. 12-8 last year with a 2.49 ERA. Tyler Glasnow will be followed by him. And can he stay healthy? That will be the biggest question with Glasnow, because we know the dominance that he does put up when he is playing right and healthy. Shohei Ohtani at number 3. Emmett Sheehan will be at number 4. And I kind of liked what I saw out of Sheehan last year. He had a 6-3 record with a 2.58 ERA. So nothing bad there by him. Look to see him get a few more starts this season. Roki Sasaki will be slotted in here as your final starter. We saw him come out of the bullpen over there in the playoffs. He was 1-1 last year with a 4.46 ERA, but in the playoffs, again, coming out of the bullpen was absolutely electric. This Dodgers team is obviously going to be a favorite to win the division and win the World Series yet again. Maybe somebody will be able to step up to them this season, but again, this is a team that was great the past few years, and they haven't stopped. They continue to add talent year in and year out. Bring in Diaz and Kyle Tucker this offseason just shows you they're ready to go back to back to back. Now, slotting in here at the third team I'll talk about here in the NL West is the San Francisco Giants. And when I did these evaluations, I wasn't all too high on the Giants until I really started to break things down. You look at some of the additions they added this year. Harrison Bader comes in on a 2-year contract, played last year with the Twins and the Phillies. Did deal with an injury there in the playoffs, though, with the Phillies. But last year in total, 17 home runs, 54 RBIs. He had a career high in strikeouts, though, with 136, a 236 average, and a 796 OPS. Harrison Bader is a good spark plug to a team, and I saw that last year with the Phillies where he just came into this lineup and he added some energy and some juice, and I think it's going to be exactly that there in the outfield for this Giants team. Now, you also bring in Luis Arias in the past year on a 1-year contract. He's somebody, again, who I think is a very underrated signing. I'll get into some of the things he did last year when I start to go over this lineup, but Luis Arias is not just any player you add to a team. He is somebody you add who makes a difference. They also bring in starting pitcher Tyler Mahle from the Texas Rangers. He comes in on a 1-year contract. 6-4 last year with a 2.18 ERA in 16 starts for the team. They also bring in some bullpen help as well. They didn't lose anybody, really, which is one of the biggest things to me is if you lose some talent, it's going to be harder to revamp and figure things out the next year. But the only losses was Justin Verlander, who we know did not play well for them last year. And they lose Andrew Kinzer over to the Mariners for their last year's catcher. But I do think that there's still a lot of talent on this team. You didn't lose any of the biggest pieces, and that's very important to me when I look at this Giants team. Now, how will this lineup shape up? We're going to have Luis Arias leading off over at second base, and I mentioned I'd get into his numbers. Last year, 30 doubles, 8 home runs, 61 RBIs, just 21 strikeouts, a 292 average, and a 719 OPS. If you're able to have somebody at the top of your lineup that is going to get on base, that's going to be a huge help to this team, and I was really surprised it took as long as it did for somebody to bring in Luis Arias to help out their team. Now, number 2, you're going to have Rafael Devers, who you brought over last year as some help over there from the Red Sox. He'll be playing first base. 33 doubles last year, 35 home runs, 109 RBIs. He had a career high in walks with 112, but a career high in strikeouts as well with 192. He had a 252 average and an 851 OPS, but Rafael Devers is somebody else that I think people are sleeping on when they look at this Giants team because of all the drama that happened last year and how the Giants didn't really put up much of a fight last year. But Rafael Devers at number 2, followed by a guy who you know is going to get on base in Luis Arias, that can produce a lot of RBIs over here for Devers. And like I said, 109 of those last season with the Giants and with the Red Sox combined. Now, number 3, you're going to have Willy Adames. He'll be playing shortstop for you. We know he came over from the Brewers just a few years ago. Matt Chapman at third base. Now, last year he had 21 home runs and 126 strikeouts, which was down from just a season ago. So, looking to see a little bit of improvement there for him. A 231 average and a 770 OPS. Now, Matt Chapman, if he could play to his full potential, we know that he is going to be a big piece here at the 4-hitter, but Matt Chapman, since coming over here to the Giants, just hasn't really been the same player. Can we see that this year? Hopefully, if you are a Giants fan. Number 5, Jung-Ho Lee. Look to see some improvement from his young talent. Heliot Ramos will be hitting number 6. And last year, he had 21 home runs, 69 RBIs, a 256 average, and a 728 OPS. He also did strike out 20 more times last year than in 2024. But if we're looking at Heliot Ramos, there's some real upside to him. If he can get the power going, you're going to be hitting lower in the rotation or in the lineup. You're not going to be expecting all too much, but if he can be a late plug here for this team, I think that's going to be huge for this Giants lineup. Follow him with Harrison Bader, Bryce Aldridge at DH, and Patrick Bailey at catcher. I love this lineup. I didn't think it's something that I would really gravitate towards, but I like what I'm seeing here with this Giants lineup. Now, going over to the rotation, Logan Webb will be your starting pitcher here. 15 and 11, a 3.22 average ERA last year in 34 games pitched. He'll be followed by Robbie Ray, Tyler Mahle, Adrian Hauser, and Landon Rupp will be finishing out this rotation. I'm high on this Giants team. I said they finish at least second in the division. We know the Dodgers are going to be the powerhouse they are. And I could see a world where the Giants make a serious push for the playoffs, and maybe they make a run in the playoffs this season. Next up, we have the San Diego Padres. And this is a team that put all the cards on the table last year. They went all in at the trade deadline, sold a lot of their young prospects to get some real talent in here. They brought in Mason Miller and some outfield help as well, and they still weren't able to get over that hump. So what did this team do this offseason to try and add some help to kind of make up for those holes? Well, they add infielder Sung Mung Song over here from the Japanese League. He signs on a 4-year contract. He played with Kawum last year, where he had 26 home runs, 90 RBIs, 25 stolen bases, a 315 average, and a 917 OPS. He is somebody I was not all too aware of, but after diving into his numbers and his career over there with the Japanese League, he's somebody I think could be a difference in this team. Now, he isn't going to be making the opening day lineup necessarily, but somebody who could be an interesting prospect, somebody you work with here in the San Diego Padres system here. They also bring in Michael King. You re-sign him on a 3-year contract. Outfielder Miguel Andujar, he signs on a 1-year deal. Tyler Addick comes out of the bullpen on a 1-year deal as well. You also add some interesting pieces here to help you out in the farm system. You add Ty France on a minor league deal, Walker Buehler on a minor league deal, and Tristan McKenzie on a minor league deal as well. So if you could bet on some AAA baseball, it's pretty much just the major league team that didn't quite cut it there for the Padres. They also bring in Nick Castellanos on a 1-year deal after his fallout with the Phillies. Some subtractions, we did see them lose Luis Arias, and I just said how much of a piece he could be for the Giants. So maybe a big loss there for the Padres. They lose Dylan Cease as well to the Blue Jays and Ryan O'Hearn to the Pirates. Now, how will this lineup shake up? This is a team that has potential to have one of the better lineups in baseball if all playing well. You're going to have Xander Bogaerts at shortstop. Now, since coming over here to the Padres, he hasn't had the greatest of seasons. Again, he's kind of just been the average shortstop there for them. At number 2, you're going to have Jackson Merrill, and we saw definitely a bit of a decline there with him last year from 2024 to 2025. He did play in 40 less games, so we saw his doubles go down tremendously. Home runs went down by 8. RBIs went down by 23. Stolen bases, he had just 1 stolen base last year as opposed to 2024 having 16 stolen bases. Average dropped by 30 points, and the OPS dropped by over 100 points. So definitely a step backward last year for Jackson Merrill. Can he start to get things going again? I sure believe so. I love Jackson Merrill, and I love the player that he is, so hope to see him get things going this year. Manny Machado will be at third base. Last year, 33 doubles, 27 home runs, 95 RBIs, a 275 average, and a 795 OPS. He continues to get it done even at his age, so good to see him still slugging away over there. Number 4, you're going to have Fernando Tatis. Last year, 27 doubles, 25 home runs, 71 RBIs, and an 814 OPS. Can Fernando Mendoza get back to his ways of 2021? That would be exactly what this team needs, and I hope to see him be able to add that same production that we did see just a few years ago where he was an MVP caliber player. Now, number 5, Ramon Laureano. You brought him in last year at the deadline. Nick Castellanos, they have slotted in here at DH at number 6. didn't have all that great a season last year at the plate for the Phillies, so to bring him in and put him at DH was a bit of an interesting choice for me. They did have him testing out first base a little bit in spring training. Number 7, Jake Cronenworth. Number 8, Miguel Andujar. And then number 9, Freddie Fermin will be your catcher. This rotation remains pretty much the same. You're going to have Nick Pivetta starting off here, Michael King, Joe Musgrove, Randy Vasquez, and Herman Marquez coming over from the Rockies. So bit of some help there for the rotation. I do think it's going to be a bit of a dogfight between the Padres and the Giants this year as to who gets the second spot in the division and who could really make a playoff push. I do see one of these two teams getting that wild card spot. And like I said, I do have a very high standing here for the Giants, so I don't think this is the year for the Padres unless they're able to get the MVP production out of Fernando Tatis. And finally, we have a team that many people wouldn't even call an MLB team at this point in the Colorado Rockies. They add some pieces this offseason. They add Willie Castro, who I'm a huge fan of. He doesn't add all too much at the plate, but he's just a very versatile player, and he can help you out here and there in the outfield, infield. So I like him as a player as a whole. Last year, he had 17 doubles, 11 home runs, and a 226 average with a 697 OPS. Now you also bring in starting pitcher Michael Lorenzen on a one-year contract. He's kind of become a journeyman as well. You bring in Jose Quintana on a one-year deal as well. And then Jake McCarthy comes over from the Diamondbacks. And this is somebody that I said wasn't a big loss for the Diamondbacks. You look at his stats last year, 67 games, 4 home runs. He had 204 average and a 591 OPS. Those are not exciting numbers if you are a Rockies fan for somebody you're bringing in. You did lose Orlando Arcia to the Twins at a boy, and you had Michael Toglia go to the Reds. Kyle Farmer goes to the Braves, and you lose Angel Chiavelli in a trade with the Yankees. Now, how will this lineup shake up? Jake McCarthy will be your leadoff hitter, and I just mentioned the numbers that he had last year with the 204 average. Not the greatest. Now, again, that was only in 67 games, but in my opinion, that should help you get a better average because it's less games and at-bats to really tally from. You'll have Ezequiel Tovar hitting number 2, and this is a guy I was really excited about a few years ago. I believe he signed a 7-year contract his rookie year with the Rockies. In 2024, he played in 157 games, 45 doubles, 26 home runs, 78 RBIs, did have 200 strikeouts, but a 763 OPS. Last year, he was injury-prone. He played in just 95 games, only 18 doubles and 9 home runs with 33 RBIs. So hope to see the Ezequiel Tovar that we saw 2 years ago. Like I said, he signed that long contract with the Rockies. So somebody I am excited to see play as a younger player. Just hope to see the full year of him. Number 3, you're going to have Mickey Moniak at DH, the Phillies' longtime prospect. Hunter Goodman will be a catcher, and this is a really exciting piece to keep an eye on if you are a Rockies fan. In 2025, 28 doubles, 31 home runs, 91 RBIs, a 278 average, and an 843 OPS. Keep an eye on Hunter Goodman. I do think he's going to be a very exciting piece here for this team. If you're able to plug him with Tovar having a good year, maybe you get the 50 wins. That's something you can look forward to as a Rockies fan. Jordan Beck in left field. Willie Castro will play at third base, number 6. Brenton Doyle in center field. He'll be sitting number 7. Didn't see another great year out of him either. He was somebody a lot of people were excited about his rookie year. Just 15 home runs and 57 RBIs last year. Now, that was down 20 from just a season ago, so that's a bit of a hit there to his statistics. Eduardo Julian will be playing first base and hitting number 8, and then Tyler Freeman will be playing second base, hitting number 9. This rotation, again, nothing really stands out to you here. Kyle Freeland, he'll be the lefty on the mound. He was 15 and 17 last year with a 4.98 ERA. Now, how much of that can you contribute to this offense just not putting up runs? I'm sure a good amount. Kyle Freeland has been there for forever. Michael Lorenzen, number 2. Ryan Feltner, number 3. Chase Dollander, number 4. And Tanner Gordon will be finishing out this rotation. But let me know what you guys think. What teams really stick out to you here in the NL West? Is it going to be the Dodgers year in and year out? Can we see the Giants or the Padres start to step things up? Let me know down in the comments. You can always check me out on social media on TikTok and Instagram at Let's Talk Sports, and subscribe right here on YouTube as well. Talk to you guys next time.